there's something so chic and effortless about a beat up Birkin. You know, I just love the look of like how Mary-Kate used to wear her Kelly, all wrecked like that and open. Like, that is so luxury. That is just so chic. But another person may see that trash bag and think, why the hell would you think that is chic and put together? Like, that's a trashed bag. Hey guys, welcome to my channel. I'm Jess. Today I wanted to talk about whether luxury feels like luxury anymore. I think that we all define luxury different, and I'm not talking about the luxury of time or the luxury of health. I'm talking about just, you know, materialistic luxury. What makes certain brands feel more luxurious than others? What makes Louis Vuitton feel luxurious? What makes Chanel feel luxurious? Or what even makes, I don't know, a Jellycat feel luxurious? Whatever you find luxury, what makes it luxury, and how can we even define it? And what made me really ponder this question today was Pierce Nigel, who asked me on my recent video. I was talking about how I was kind of craving to buy a Louis Vuitton bag again because I've been doing my low buy year this year, and well, I haven't bought a bag yet. So it's been about, I didn't buy a bag in December or January, which is an improvement from last year because I was buying like a bag every month last year. Anyways, I spoke about how I was kind of craving to buy a monogram Louis Vuitton bag again because I find that when I look at them on people in real life, I kind of feel like, oh, that looks good and I would love to buy that. Even though I've owned them before, I just feel like maybe there's a part of my brain that is craving to buy something. So when I see that Louis Vuitton monogram, I automatically feel like, oh, that's a luxury bag. And Pierce Nigel asked me, do you feel elegant and luxurious when you wear LV, knowing that it's mass-produced, that canvas is printed by the kilometre? Everyone has it. It's very recognisable print, a commercial one on top of that, with not one, but many very large logos. On top of that, the forms are super simple, mostly rectangles in different configurations. I hope I'm not vexing you, I'm sorry if I do. It is a 100% sincere question because I never understood why people like it and I have no one to ask about it. Do you feel chic with LV? And well, at first I thought like, yeah, I mean, I remember when I first started buying LV, I felt fancy, and I don't know whether that's just because I saw Paris Hilton wearing LV or something about that monogram that seemed really cool. I don't often see cheaper brands doing monogram. I mean, they tend to now, like, I suppose Michael Kors is seen as cheaper and that's a monogram, but Michael Kors to some people feels like luxury, right? I know when I was like 10, if I saw a Michael Kors bag, I would think that's like a fancy bag. So do you feel elegant and luxurious when you wear LV? Well, I do, because I think, wow, this was really expensive. And I think the thing about things being expensive, you automatically psychologically think it must be more luxurious, but it's not always the case. And I really question sometimes like whether these bags are worth it, because we're not just buying the material thing. You're buying like some sort of fantasy, or you're buying the history, you're buying also the perception of the brand. And Louis Vuitton is a very strong brand, and they have a very highly perceived brand value because of the way that they market their items and the way that they may increase the prices every, few months or so. That makes people perceive it in a really prestigious way, and something that is higher than a brand like Coach, or maybe even higher than Prada. Who knows, guys? I mean, it all depends on the person. So when I wear LV, do I feel luxurious, even though it's very mass-produced at this point and the canvas is printed by the kilometre? Well, when you put it like that, honestly, it makes me not see it as luxury, right? And I think it all depends on the person. It's whether you want to close a blind eye to one thing and open it to another. Brands can become ruined for anyone. I know for me, like Chanel kind of got ruined for me, so that's why I don't collect it anymore. But Louis Vuitton did get a little bit ruined for me after, I would say, buying several bags from the boutique that had quality issues like, peeling and wonkiness. That did ruin the perception of LV for me. And it had nothing to do with the fact that it's just, you know, coated canvas, which is just cotton with like some plasticky coating. That never bothered me because I always thought that was quite durable, and I quite like the monogram. I think it looks quite pretty. But is it very rare? Like, no, because like if you go to Japan, there's Louis Vuitton Monogram everywhere, and there's Louis Vuitton shops everywhere as well. It's actually insane. But in a place like Australia, I would say there are less Louis Vuitton boutiques, so one might see it as more fancy than somebody else who lives in Japan or China or somewhere. Even if you live in maybe China, you might even find that Louis Vuitton is ruined for you because you might see there is a lot more replicas. Like, I don't know. You know what I mean, guys? It just depends on the person, like what you want to turn a blind eye to, because there are cons to every brand. Like, I would even say I've had stages where I thought, you know, Louis Vuitton vintage is better, but do I really want to spend $5,000 on a vintage bag? Like, you know, for example, some of those Murakami pieces, like with the cherry blossoms and like the big keeples, they can definitely go for over $5,000. But do I want to spend that much on a old canvas bag? You know, you could even argue that. And for me, I found that I found a lot of value in Hermes, and when I wear Hermes I feel luxurious. But I was even questioning my own collection at one point, because I'm like, okay, but I'm buying Hermes, and some bags I bought from the store, but a few, I've definitely bought quite a few on the pre-loved market as well. And is it really worth paying that much for a bag that's secondhand? For example, like my omnibus bag, it's in really good condition, but this one is from like 2008. And one might say like this is just not luxurious at all. It's such like a plain design. They might think, you know, it's from 2008, it's so old. Yet I paid like, well, how much did I pay? I think I paid under $3,000 Australian for this. But someone else might see this and be like, why the hell would you pay almost $3,000 for such a plain bag? That is not luxurious at all. And maybe they'd look at a Chanel bag with a big CC logo and think, you know, that's the epitome of luxury. So it depends on the person. I mean, I was talking to somebody today who said, there is something so chic and effortless about a beat-up Birkin. You know, I just love the look of like how Mary-Kate used to wear her Kelly, all wrecked like that and open. Like, that is so luxury. That is just so chic. But another person may see that trash bag and think, why the hell would you think that is chic and put together? Like, that's a trashed bag. Why would you even spend thousands of dollars on a trashed Birkin, which it's becoming fashionable to buy bags that actually look trashed? Like, even if you look at some of Miu Miu's bags, like a lot of their bags are quite saggy and that trash bag look at the moment, and that's what's fashionable. And some people might look at that and say, that's not luxurious at all, and that doesn't look chic. So yeah, I mean, yes, Louis Vuitton canvas is very common and it's not hard to get, I would say, and it's mass produced in a way. But I think because of the way we perceive the brand, it is seen as luxury, and it is also, although it's like some bags from Louis Vuitton are definitely very limited, and even some monogram bags, like for example, what's an example, like there was this cube bag they did a few years ago. Like, that's very rare. I don't see that often. Or for example, they've done a lot of artistic pieces in monogram, and they're very rare and they're very highly desired. But then if you think of something like a Speedy, you know, it's not as rare, it's very common. But does that make it less luxurious? Well, you could say, well, it's definitely luxurious because Audrey Hepburn used to wear it. So there's a lot of factors into what makes you think it's luxurious or not. But someone else might think this is not luxurious. Or another example is, like, I was really questioning whether I spent too much on this bag. And this is a 1960s vintage Palonnier bag from Hermes. And I paid about, I think I paid about $600 to $700 Australian dollars for this Hermes bag. And a lot of people would say, that is such an old, smelly bag. Why would you pay $700 for that? You could have gone to, yeah, Kate Spade and bought like a full-priced new bag. That would be so much more luxurious. And to be honest, I was actually feeling the same way, because this does have a bit of a musty smell. And I'm actually going to try and maybe get some like baking powder, because I was watching Jerusa Couture and she was talking about how putting baking powder in a tea towel will like help the odor, and then putting Kleenex in here. So I think I might try that, but did spend, I guess, yeah, that is cheap for an Hermes bag though, right? Like $600 to $700. So some people may think like that is such a bargain, but other people may think, Like, why the hell would you spend that much on like such an old bag? And then to top it off, I paid like $400 to get it restored. So like $1,000 on this bag, where someone else might say, you know, you may as well spent $2,000 at Louis Vuitton on something else, you know, and got a real designer bag. But then someone else might say, you know, this is almost like, you know, such a rare collectible, like such a part of history, and it's Hermes, so it's definitely a great investment, you know. So like it just all depends on like what you think is valuable to you. Like a part of me is like, you know, this is not worth it, it smells funny, so it's not luxurious anymore. But someone else might be like, wow, that has such a charm, that bag. As someone might look at Mary-Kate's bag and think, wow, that is such a cool bag, like I want to buy that, I would spend a lot of money on that trash bag. But someone else would be like, you know, that is just worthless now that she's trashed it like that. Yeah, guys, do you find that your perception of luxury changes over time? Because I know for me it definitely does. I think one of the reasons why I sold a lot of my older Louis Vuitton bags is because of some of the conditions they were in, like some of the markings and the smell I didn't like. And even some of my vintage Chanel jumbos were not in the best condition. They had a lot of sagging and the hardware was coming off, kind of like, that wasn't coming off, it was like a bit loose in areas, and that's why I sold them to buy other bags. But at the same time, a lot of the bags that I used to have were super iconic, and some people may say that is way more luxurious than buying a new Hermes bag that is so overpriced and maybe not as, some people have said like new Hermes is not made as good as vintage. So yeah, what is luxury anymore, guys? I don't know, but sometimes you guys say luxury is just like drinking a cup of tea and having time to yourself. Yes, I think that is luxury as well. But in terms of handbags, I think it's different for everybody, and it's got a lot to do with the marketing and your current perception of the brand, which can definitely change over time with different things happening to you, right? Like quality control and all that. So anyways, thanks for listening to my blabby video today. I know I went on a lot like this time. Yeah, and let me know what you think about my thoughts today, and I'll talk to you guys soon. Bye!